I'm gonna have to splice these together because Kim is calling and she interrupted. The first one, trying not to get frustrated at that. Every time I'm making a video or playing a game or something, Kim calls every single time. That is not an exaggeration. Just it happens every time. So back to my thought. Before you attach all the records to this being, he could be known as a beast, because if you know, or that's maybe a beast back then didn't have the same negative sort of connotation that it does now, right? So now we're well established in record, right? At the county office, there's your birth certificate, and it has your name and your date of birth, has your given name, has your name in all caps. That's another conspiracy theory thing. So back to what I was saying before, whenever you're trying to do anything important or do anything where there's restrictions involved, like buy alcohol, right? What do they want? Do they want you to give them a demonstration that you can responsibly drink alcohol? No, they want your driver's license that shows you're old enough. Okay. So you have special privileges once you have all these records attached to you. I used to hate the idea of having records attached to you. I think that was when I was shittier of a human being. I was more shameful of the things I was doing. So that was probably why I didn't like as much the records being attached. Now that I'm kind of like not causing so much havoc in my and other people's lives, I don't mind so much the records being attached. So now that I'm in a little healthier state of mind, I understand more. Even though it's still artificial and it looks weird. If you think about it, me being mad about the records is like you even knowing somebody is only there because of your own memory and records in your own head. So for me to say, oh, this record stuff is nonsense and this is just slavery or whatever, that's speaking out against my own relations with other people that I know. So this is my newer, hopefully more enlightened view of that particular topic. And so yeah, personhood. So fictitious business name. So this fictitious business name, as I understand it now, is the businesses and like your name, right? My name is Gary Paul Warmerdam. In the eyes of the law, that fictitious I'm a fictitious person also, okay? Just as the same as a business. But in the eyes of the law, the thing that's responsible for this living flesh and blood creature, the thing that's responsible for that creature is the fictitious person. That's Gary Paul Warmerdam, right? The record. This is just a record. It obviously is not the living being itself. It's not me. Or it becomes weird when you look at it inside of yourself. It becomes very strange. But the fictitious person that was created at birth, Gary Paul Warmerdam, that entity, that entity is just a stockpile of records, right? It has some dates, a birth date, some records that are added up. What are the important ones? It's your birth date, your social security number, your bank account number, all your passwords that link you to all of these things. And it's your track record. It's whether you've done good to your creditors. It's whether you've assaulted anybody. Do I have anything on my record? Like, what have I done? That's it. That's this fictitious person. It's not you. The person that lives in the present moment, or the being that lives in the present moment, has very little relation to that fictitious person, aside from like a mental memory of, yeah, I was I was that Bing when that Bing did those things. So yeah. So when you're trying to understand the legalese in defining these terms, and you're trying to understand yourself and how does your name fit into the thing, and why were human beings called monsters in Black's Law Dictionary, that's my sort of understanding of it nowadays. You're a fictitious person, right? The body is fictitious too. So you can look at this stuff in however you want to. I know if Kim were watching, she'd say, "Oh, he keeps looking away." And why do you keep looking away? I don't know. That's how I talk. So the physical body can be seen as fictitious almost as well, given quantum physics and how stuff pops in and out of existence, changes when you look at it. Matter is made of 99% air or mostly air or something like that. You kind of understand, like at a certain point, you realize the emptiness of stuff that, you know, whatever it is we are. It's very what's the word? It's impermanent. It's fleeting. You know, the moment itself is, you're in it, but you don't know what it is. So the fictitious person is you. The fictitious person is the set of records that is applied onto the living being that is you, right? And in terms of a business, the fictitious person is, it's like the logo, or what, the brand name. The brand name is the fictitious person. So the brand name is a set of records. The brand name is like the placeholder for a set of records that is associated with everything that business has done, in the form of people connecting themselves to that business, people connecting their activities to that name, and so forth. So for instance, whenever I say Uber, that word, the Uber is called the business, right? When you think of it in your head, Uber is the business, but it's a fictitious business. The name Uber is by law, it's a made-up name that's sort of spearheading, or that's the top of the sort of bag of crap or stuff. I'm not hating on Uber or anything. Just Uber is the little thing. It's like the marker it's the identifier, the main identifier for all of the activities and people that fall under the umbrella of that can fall under the umbrella of that main label, or that main highlighted thing, right? So I'm kind of going in a roundabout way to try to make a point that I was thinking about, if you followed along at all. And the point is that sometimes when I think of businesses, like when my mind thinks and talks to itself about businesses, it sort of, my mind looks at the businesses as if they are a conscious individual, as if they're actually like a person, not the fictitious person that I was talking about earlier, but an actual living, fully conscious, sentient, self-aware being. So my mind thinks of the businesses sort of like that, and I think that's a faulty way of thinking about it. For instance, if I say something about Uber, a very broad, a general thing, like a statement or a judgment of Uber, like a lot of people say Uber sucks. You know, Uber is terrible. Uber treats its drivers badly. So they're making blanket statements about Uber as if it were a being or an entity or a self-aware entity. So while it may be by law a fictitious person, it is not an actual physical, it's not a self-conscious being as far as I know. Maybe there are some businesses that, maybe that's how all beings start off, as fictitious businesses, you know, who knows. They're not that as far as I'm aware, but it's possible. So the thing I was coming to in my mind about how I was sort of there's like a reptilian fear in my mind of when I make judgments on entities such as Uber, or take any entity that, you know, any business entity, and I just was kind of realizing and playing it out in my mind, you know, possible scenarios of where if I were to judge Uber, there isn't a being that's going to respond to that accusation. There's not this set of activities and records and people and movements that are attributed to the name Uber. They're not as as linked, they're not as organically linked as your brain would have you feel. They're really a set of highly independent actions linked only in financial and legal responsibility. They're linked only in terms of financial responsibility and legal responsibility. This is just how I see it. So this is why you can talk shit on a company while you're in that store, and the clerk will just laugh along with you unless they've self-identified very strongly with the company and they are protective of it, right? So yeah, that's my video. I gotta call Kim back because she's probably, well, she tried to call me, so she wants to talk. So I'll call her back after this. Hope you enjoyed. I've been driving Uber for a while. It's been going well. Everything's going well because I haven't been drinking for a while. I have not been drinking since late November. No, late December. So it's been like 7 months. So that's going well. Uber is going well. Everything's going fine. And that's all I wanted to say. I just kind of also wanted to make a video to see if anybody was still around watching the channel without me posting it on social media sites. So I want to see if I get any hits on the video just uploading it. So yeah, that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching if you're there, and bye-bye. I was gonna blow a kiss. That's for Kim, or for anybody else who feels they deserve it. Okay, see you guys. Bye.